Hello, my name is Justin, and today we're going to be focusing on making a slideshow presentation for your TED evaluation project for public speaking online. The platform we're going to be using is PowerPoint 2011. So when you're creating your slideshows, you want your slides to be visually dominant. And by visually dominant, I mean that you want your imagery to take up the majority of your slide. You don't want to use tiny images, and you don't want to use images that don't have high visual fidelity. You want to use high definition photographs for all of your pictures so that you have something that's a nice presentation to go along with your content. Now, when you make your first slideshow, you're going to see something like this. Blank slide. And you're going to see a place to add a title and a subtitle. You're going to get rid of that information because it's unnecessary. You're going to be covering all of your blank slides with images, and then based on the images you're going to determine where to put your content. So it doesn't make sense to have predetermined places for your information to go. Now, to make multiple slides from this simple blank slide, you're going to hit Command C and then Command V for as many slides as you need. And since we have a slideshow already set up, I'm going to get rid of this one and go to the slideshow here, where we're going to go ahead and rebuild this entire slideshow from scratch. So let's go ahead and bring in our imagery and get that placed approximately where it would go in the original slideshow. We're not going to get it exact. Again, it's important to pick high quality photography, such as this picture. We're going to have to make this a little bit bigger so it'll fit. But you want images that look like this, because if you do have to bring your image up a little bit to make sure that it's fit on the slide perfectly, you won't have much visual distortion, if any. When gathering your images, Google Images is a great place to start, but stock photography is usually what you want to go for because you're not going to run into too many troubles with attributing that to a proper source. Sometimes when you grab pictures from the internet, it's hard to attribute a source to exactly who created that image. So we're almost done with bringing in all of our visual content here. And after we complete this, we're going to start working on the text and transitions. How you present your information is just as important as the images that you bring in to provide a background for that information. So it's key to experiment with how you can present your information to the audience to best convey your message and to also be aesthetically pleasing. Now notice that these images kind of overlap on the slide. You don't have to worry about that too much because when you go to present the slide, that portion will be cut off. You won't have anything that's extended or distorted. So even for this picture here, you'll notice that we have a large gap to the right. We're just going to have to make that picture larger. If you had a really small, low fidelity photograph, we might see some distortion here, but the photograph is still very clear. So that's what you want to grab. That's what you want to look for when you're acquiring the pictures for your slideshow. If you have to use smaller pictures, make sure that they're properly framed, and by framed I mean you can put a line or a stroke around the image so it looks more like a photograph or a Polaroid, something that's a little bit more physical. It doesn't look like it's simply placed on the screen without any thought or care. That's something that you want to avoid. Let's go ahead and make an extra slide. So we have 15. That's something you want to avoid because, again, when you're working on slideshows, making smart choices is very important because you have to communicate your ideas to an audience that not necessarily been able to see you in person. So using strong imagery can only help your case when you're trying to convince us of something that you believe in or a message of whatever that might be. Alright, our images are almost in place. Notice that most of these images are not the proper size. They have different aspect ratios. If you're lucky, you'll get some image sizes that are the exact same size as your slideshow, but generally you want to aim for bigger. Okay, we have our completed slideshow ready to go. We have all of our images. This is generally the workflow you want to go with. You want to go ahead and make all of your blank slides the total number that you'll think you need for your slideshow. In this case, it's 14. After you've already made your blank slides, you want to go ahead and then include your visuals, all of the visuals that you'll think you want to use over the slideshow. In fact, it's sometimes helpful to include more visuals than you think you'll use, because then you have a choice on which visuals are the best representative of what you want to communicate to your audience. In the next video, we're going to discuss how to incorporate transitions into your slideshows, and then we're going to start adding text